Buckle up, everyone. I have a story time. So I wanted to talk about one of the greatest decisions I made during my college career. I was just trying to think of what impacted me, and what I really kept coming back to was studying abroad. So I was lucky enough to study abroad twice in my senior year. So really last minute, but really shows that you really can do it, and I would recommend that you do, even if you're just like on the fence or look into it. I really recommend it. So the first study abroad trip that I did was to Jamaica in spring break, and that was for 1 week. And then the second study abroad trip that I did was actually after graduation for 2 weeks long in China. So I'll save those stories for a different video, and today I just want to focus on Jamaica because that was like my first experience, and I guess technically the farthest one away. So for Jamaica, it was honestly it gave me such great perspective for life. So on life, I guess. So the Jamaica study abroad trip was with a program at my college called the Moral Engineering Program, so previously Minority and Engineering Program. So it was a service trip. We were going to go, and we were hosted by a group of women there in Jamaica, and we were supposed to study kind of like their leadership, and we were going to help service-wise, but then also we were just supposed to learn about the culture and this group of leaders, women leaders. So I thought that was really awesome. And another really cool aspect of this trip was that we stayed with host moms. So that was awesome. Like, they opened up their homes for us, and we were kind of like paired off. So shout out to my roommate Nayeli. And it was just so awesome. It was the perfect blend of kind of like touristy things and culture and the community there in Jamaica. So it was 1 week long, and we did a mix of, well, one, we were always with people from the community. So for example, like they took us to a waterfall exhibit, and we always had our tour guides with us, and then it was kind of like a private tour for us. So that was really cool because I love anything water related. So that was really fun to like get in the cold water, because there's a lot of, I guess, like lakes and rivers in Jamaica, besides obviously being surrounded by the ocean. So that was really awesome. And then after that, we would either like come back to their like community center and just like hang out with the kids there, or sometimes they did like a presentation about like Jamaican culture, eat traditional Jamaican food like together as a group if we weren't gonna go home to eat dinner with our host moms. So yeah, it was just kind of like the perfect blend of being able to experience Jamaica. And actually we also ended up doing a couple of like actual touristy things. Like they took us to Negril, and I forgot what resort it was, but it was one of those that's like everywhere. Margaritaville. And honestly, everybody that went also said that was kind of like their least favorite part, because it was just so touristy, and it just didn't combine with what we had just learned about everything else. So yeah, it was great to see like a different way of living. Everybody was also so joyful in their work and what they were doing. I have a story time about one of the waterfalls, but I also want to say like the service part of the trip was also so powerful. So we did 2 projects, I guess. So one of them was visiting an elementary school where we painted the kids' bathrooms. So there was a lot of us, so some of us were painting and some of us were in charge of like helping the teachers with the students, and I really gravitated to like children and kids, so I really spent a lot of time with them, and I was making posters, like educational posters for their wall while they were like in class. And oh my gosh, the kids are so sweet. So yeah, it was so awesome that everybody enjoyed it so much. We were supposed to go to like a goat farm or something, but instead we went back to the elementary school because we didn't finish painting, and also everybody wanted to spend more time with the kids. So that was awesome that we got to spend like an extra day with them, and we got to play with them at recess. I was giving a lot of piggyback rides. So
Can I do a backflip? No way. I would hurt myself.
That was a great part of the service. And then the second project was we spent all day at a park and filling in kind of the holes between the fence and the ground, because the fence was kind of like curling up. So that one was like labor, and honestly, like we didn't even do as much work as our guide Sean did. So shout out to him. He was really helpful, even though it's like our job, obviously. So that one was just like really fun to just let everybody work together and help the community that gave so much to us. So that one was all day in the sun. I was wearing I wasn't wearing long sleeves, but we all had so much sunscreen on because the sun was unforgiving in Jamaica. And jeans, and at some point we had to like mix concrete so that we could fill in these spots. I was given a saw and I was like cutting down parts of the trees that were encroaching in the fence. So that was a whole time. There's bees, and then I was like, there's bees. And then one of our guides, he was like, or one of the guys that's part of the community, he came and he was like, oh look, like they're protecting a baby bird nest. And I was like, what? And he literally reached in there and took out the nest, and he was like, look, and he showed me, and I was like,
move in there. Yes, thinking about us, open him out. Yes, he want him thinking about us come here to feed him. Because we're going on side here now, they just keep away.
Huh? What the heck? And then he put it back, and I was like, that is freaking crazy that you just did that, but that's so awesome. So yeah, so overall, great trip. I feel that I came out of it with so much gratitude and an open mind to other cultures, and the fact that like the world doesn't revolve around me, and there's just so much outside of the US, and also just this desire to travel more and learn about other cultures and other perspectives. Jamaica is also a very religious country, so that was interesting to learn about that through the presentation, and just so awesome that we can all coexist on this earth with such different like perspectives. So yeah, just nothing but good things to say about Jamaica. And I mean, my host mom, Mama Paulette, we took a selfie with her every morning before we got picked up by the bus. That was another thing that I was not expecting. So Jamaica, you drive on the other side of the road, and they were honking like crazy, honking, and I was like, what?
Why is everyone here so rude? Like, what's going on?
They're literally saying hi to each other. That's how they say, hey, what's up? So we'll be waiting for the bus, and every car that passes Mama Paulette's house, honk, beep, 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 beep. And it's just like, they're just saying hi, but nobody's even out there. Like, they're just, so friendly, such like a familial culture. So awesome. So yeah, one of the things that did make me so sad was just how dirty the island was. There was so much trash, like actually trash, like plastic, whatever. When we were cleaning up when we were helping in the service project in the park, we were like taking all the trees that we cut down and like the leaves and stuff to I don't know, I guess I thought like a dumpster, but it was literally just like a part of the island, like it looked like somebody's backyard or overgrown backyard or something that just had like trash in it, and we just like dumped it there. And our stuff was obviously green, it's gonna decompose and whatever, but I literally saw like diapers, bottle cans, plastic water bottles, everything. And that just made me really sad, because I was like, there's just no infrastructure. Everywhere I went, I could not find a trash can, so obviously people just dump things where they are. But that made me really sad. But maybe that's something that, maybe that's like I don't know, do people coordinate like volunteer trips to go clean places? Like, I don't know, now I want to do that after spending so much time. Like, I want to give back more. So I don't know, just another thing that I remembered. And then the story time that I always tell everybody about Jamaica was in one of the waterfall like tours that we did. We were kind of hiking alongside like a river and / waterfall in the water, and our guide there's a few people in our group that didn't know how to swim or weren't as comfortable or were really comfortable, so he kind of divided into how to get across or wherever part we were as the easy way or the hard way. So we would reach like a new section, and he's like, all right, easy way, like follow this route, like I'll be right there, blah blah blah, and then hard way, like here you go. And so like me and a couple other guys, like we always take like the hard way, and because I just was having the time of my life. Like I really enjoy everything water. And so like at some points there was parts where the water was flowing against us, and the hard way was literally just like getting waterboarded, like trying to swim from one side to the other. And so that was that. Or like climbing rocks with water coming down them. So it was just so fun. There's a bunch of parts where we could like jump from a high point into the water. I did flips into the water, like so fun. And then one of the like last ones that was the hard way versus the easy way, was the way he introduced it was we were all waiting at like the bank, and then he was in the water and he was like, all right guys, easy way, like pointed, blah blah blah, and then he's like, hard way, this is the hard way. And then he goes underwater, disappears for like 10 seconds, and then reappears in a completely different spot, like on the other side of a rock. So he went under the water through a tunnel to get out through the other side. And I was like, oh hell no, oh hell no. But then of course I was like, okay, I'll do it. And freaking kudos to Jocelyn, because I think she went first and she doesn't even know how to swim that well, and she was wearing glasses and she just took them off. Well, I guess you close your eyes underwater anyways, but I was like, okay, Jocelyn can do this. That's freaking awesome, girl boss. I want to do it now too. So I went like after a couple of people, and the crazy thing is like I wear contacts, so I can't open my eyes underwater. So you're just like in the blind. And Sean, like our guide, he was like, don't worry, like I'll help you. He was in the middle of where we're gonna come up, and then you go down again and then you come up again. And I was like, okay. And it didn't look that far. Everybody was doing it, so I was like, okay. So I find the tunnel underwater, my eyes are closed, and then I'm like, okay, this is definitely far enough. I go up, my head hits the rock, and I was like, pause, and then I keep going a little bit, and I go up, and my head hits the rock. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna drown. I'm gonna drown down here. So now I'm low-key kind of panicking under the water. I feel super scared, and then I feel something grab my head, pull me forward, and then up, and it's the guide, and he like pushes me to the surface, and I'm like breathing. I feel so dramatic. I was like, oh my gosh. And then he was like, okay, the next one you can just do by yourself, it's really easy. And I was like, are you joking me? But it actually ended up being easier. Like I went under, and then this time I put my hand up, and I was like feeling, so I could see when it ran out of like rock. And then a few of my friends were waiting on the other side, so like they grabbed me, and I was like, okay, we did it. But the fear that I felt from that moment, I was like, I have to do this again, because I do not want to live with this fear. Like I have never felt like I was gonna drown before, but that's what I imagined it would feel. I don't know. I was just like, I can't. I want to get over this fear. I want to be brave. So I was like, okay. So I'm waiting in line to go again, because a couple of the guys were like, oh, hey, we want to do it without your help. Like both of the tunnels in one go. And I was like, you guys are crazy, but I'm gonna do it again, but a different way. So they do it. And it's my turn, and I look at the guy, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do it like them. I just want to try it again. And like, can you help me? And he's like, okay. So then I go, and this time I'm like calm. I feel in control. I'm holding my breath, obviously, whatever. So I go, and I feel where I'm supposed to go up on the first one. So I go up, and I feel somebody's hand push my head underwater and push it to the left, like to go to the other tunnel. And I was like, you're joking. You're literally joking. So then I tried going up again, and he was pushing me, so I was like, okay, I guess I'll go to the other tunnel. So then I went to the other tunnel, and I came back up for air, and I was like, and then I look at our guide, and he was like, you thought you couldn't do it. And I was like, oh my gosh. So that's the story time of how I faced my fears in Jamaica. I don't know. But yeah, but overall, great experience. That was just so scary. But I'm glad that I did it, and I'm glad that I tried again. But yeah, very scary. It was so fun. I feel that the whole experience honestly was a 10. Got to experience a lot of different parts of their culture, learn a lot, try a lot of different foods. I'm usually a really picky eater, and I feel like this propelled me into like trying new foods and being open to new flavors, and also the fact that like if you're not used to something, maybe you don't like it the first time, but then you could end up liking it again. I did like their dumplings. I liked all the dessert. But yeah, so really good experience. Study abroad if you can, and I'll have to share about China in another video. So yeah, comment below if you've been to Jamaica, if you've studied abroad, where have you studied abroad, where do you recommend that I study abroad? I want everybody's input. Or if you want to study abroad or visit a country in general, like where would you go? Let's just talk about travel in the comments, you know? So yeah, that's all I got. I'm gonna keep sitting in this traffic. One last thing, while I was editing the video, I realized that there was a few parts about the trip that I didn't share, and I wanted to just quickly plug them at the end. One of the experiences that was also really cool that they took us to in Jamaica was to go to a cave, and it was super dark. So unlike other caves that I've been to randomly, like in Missouri, where they have lights already in there, this one was so dark, and they obviously didn't have lights already installed, so they just asked us, hey, can everyone take out their phones and use it as a flashlight? So that was super interesting, but it was really cool, and you could hear like all the bats. And then at the end, we were able to jump into a bottomless pit, quote unquote, because they've been digging and exploring it, and they still haven't found the bottom. So that was just like a really creepy feeling to just be like floating and you don't know what's below you. So that one was really fun. And now I think I'll just end with a bunch of videos of me jumping into water. Enjoy.